Hi, and welcome to the course. We're glad that you decided to take it. This course is about making high-quality, professional-grade presentations. Making presentations is not as easy as it might seem. It's certainly not about creating a bit of a dump of your thoughts in the form of bullet points. It's also not about slapping together screenshots from various Excel models that you might have lying around. It's about more than that. You can really tell apart presentations that have been well put together and where the authors followed a really well structured process to arrive at the content of what ends up going into those presentations. So what this course is about a process like that. And if you follow that process, our experience is that the quality of your presentations will go up significantly. So your presentations will stand out from those that are made by others. They will also stand out from those that you used to make in the past before you started using this methodology. This methodology is also a result of our 10 years of experience working in highly demanding professional environments where we had to make presentations day in and day out. And so through that experience, we learned a lot about what it takes to make good presentations and also what it takes to make bad presentations and how to tell them apart. So this course is an attempt to synthesize all of that experience and knowledge into something that is easily digestible and that can be applied by anyone, so long as they have a presentation that they're working on or that they will need to work on at some point in the future. So this course can be used by young professionals. It can also be used by more experienced professionals. It can also be used by students who are currently either in business schools or in their undergraduate studies. Or this course can also be used by anyone who is just generally interested in the topic of professional presentations and what it takes to produce them. So why did we decide to make this course? In our experience, communication in general, but presentation-based communication is an extremely important skill if you want to advance within a corporate environment. People are often judged about the quality of their ideas and how they think based on the merits of how they present themselves and how they articulate their thoughts. And so presentations are just another form of communication which combines visual communication but also combines verbal communication, because oftentimes you first spend the time to create the visual aspect of it, the PowerPoint pages, for example, but then you also have to go and present your work, let's say in a meeting, and how you do it will then form the basis on which your audience is going to judge your abilities. And so therefore we think that mastering presentations is really important, especially if you are highly ambitious or if you'd like to have more opportunities at work, or if you'd like to be able to structure and communicate your thoughts more clearly and in a better way. So it took us many, many years to learn how to make quality presentations, but we think that you can probably learn the same skills if you are presented with the knowledge in a way that you can easily digest, and that way you don't have to yourself go through 10 years of experience in order to get to a similar level of understanding of what it takes to make these kind of presentations. So how is this course structured? The methodology that we have come up with consists of 10 steps that are sequential. And so it starts with thinking deeply about the question you're trying to answer. It then proceeds into analyzing your audience and what they care about and anticipating their needs. Then goes into step 3, which is about exploring how you can break down the questions and prioritize which branches make sense to analyze. Then goes into step 4, which is about mapping out where your data is going to come from, followed by actually building your analysis in exhibits and using slides to help your thinking, to then iterating the answer, referring back to the original issue tree that you've built in step 3, to then organizing all of your exhibits and pages and analysis into a storyline that makes it easy to understand your key conclusions, to then finalizing the presentation, cleaning it up, cutting it down to essentials, and estimating what the size of the presentation should be, depending on how much time you're going to have to present it, to then rehearsing your presentation in step 9, and then delivering the presentation on the day and collecting feedback afterwards in step 10. So it's a fairly intuitive methodology, but if you don't have a framework like this in mind, you might just be tempted to jump straight into making exhibits and looking at whatever data happens to be available at hand for you. And we've seen it happen many times, and it just, in our experience, it just never works So if it's an important presentation, we think that you really should be following this kind of process. There are different ways how you can follow this process. You can follow it religiously and spend lots of time on each step, or you can try to follow each step quickly and then sort of go deeper into the steps that you think will add the most value to the final product. So you'll need to judge depending on your situation. And also, the more experience you have following a methodology like this, the easier it will become for you to apply it and to be perhaps a little bit more selective in terms of which steps you indexed more deeply on. So for each of the steps, we've recorded a video lesson. Each lesson is roughly about 10 minutes long, and it contains synthesis of what we think is important to keep in mind when it comes to each of those 10 steps. It includes things like our thoughts, the experiences we had, examples from real life, as well as general do's and don'ts. So each of those videos is a synthesis of how we've been doing it and the best ways we've learned how to approach each step. And it's also how we would have coached our teams back in the day when we had teams of junior colleagues helping us deliver our projects. So how can you get the most out of this course? The best thing to do, firstly, is to just listen to all of the videos and just to understand at an analytical level what it is that we're talking about in each step. Once you've done that, you should then try to follow this methodology for an active presentation that you're working on. And like we said, you can perhaps try to follow it in its entirety, or maybe think about which of the steps are most valuable if you're crunched and you don't have the luxury of spending significant time on each of those steps. So just pick ones that you think will help you the most in your particular situation. And then for next time, when perhaps you're starting a little bit earlier, you can then try to apply the methodology in its entirety and each of those 10 steps deeply and try to see what kind of insights and what kind of ideas each of those steps helps you generate. And so the more you use it, obviously, like with anything, the better you're going to get. So there is no substitute for actually trying to apply this methodology in real life. So we hope you enjoy this course. If you have any thoughts or suggestions about how to improve it, please let us know. We're always open to feedback, and best of luck in your journey.